you all whilst you're all joining in. I hope you're all okay. Just let me know once you're in. Can you hear me all okay? Is the audio coming in loud and clear? And can you see me all right? Just let me know in the chat. If you're here, you shouldn't be able to see each other's chat, I don't think, but you should be able to see me also currently. Ina, good to see you. Amazing. Michael, good to see you. Fantastic. As you're all joining, I'm going to give it a couple of minutes just to let everybody flow in because there can be a bit of a delay on Zoom at the moment. I've run a few of these over the last few weeks. It tends to be a bit of a lag. So whilst you're all joining, just let me know, just in the chat box, whereabouts are you tuning in from today? Whereabouts? We've got people from all over the world looking at the registration form. So it'd be good to see. We've got Glasgow, amazing. We've got London, as always. Sunny Derbyshire, amazing. Kent. Berlin, amazing. Frederica, good to see you here. North Yorkshire, Barnsley, good stuff. It's all coming through, amazing stuff. So today, if you weren't aware already, we're going to be talking a little bit about LinkedIn, social selling, and predominantly how to get clients on these platforms. So I've got a few different examples of which we've done it in the past and we still do it today. And this is going to be very, very practical. So please do make sure that you have got either your phone, the LinkedIn app downloaded on your phone would be useful. A notepad or some way of taking notes would also be really, really beneficial for you. And then also just your attention more than anything, because I'm going to go into quite a lot of detail. I'm going to start off with the basics, and then I'm going to go to some quite advanced features towards the end in terms of how we get this all connected. So from turning a connection who may not know who we are right now, and this applies on every social media platform as well, to be fair, but a connection that doesn't quite know who we are, all the way through to a really loyal customer that's going to end up referring more business our way. There is a journey that you take every single person on when you meet them online. And there are certain ways in which you build those relationships and you communicate that I've just noticed people seem to get really wrong on this platform specifically. And I'm sure you know exactly what I mean with probably the 3 or 4 random spammy sales messages that you've received in the inbox over the last week or so. People just seem to have lost that ability to communicate with other humans online. It's just never been there and it's not really taught. So what I want to do, because this is like my geek subject, is what I study a lot and it's what I research a lot, is just give you the practical steps that you can do that we do day to day to get us the results. And I hope that's going to be useful for you. Please let me know if that sounds borderline interesting. I'm hoping it will be, bearing in mind you are here. And what I'm going to do now we've got a couple of minutes and people have all joined, I'm just going to share my screen and go through and share the slides with you as well. So let me put that up there. I'm just going to open the chat box up again. Can you all see the slides for me? Just give me a big yes in the chat if you can see the slides, and you should still be able to see me as well. A couple of people raising hands, so it looks like we're all good to go. Amazing. So this talk today, this masterclass today, it's going to be about an hour and a half. So it's going to be about 90 minutes. It's going to be about an hour and 10 minutes of content. I'm then going to talk about the academy at the end, and we're going to have a Q&A for around 15 minutes as well. So in terms of what you're going to get out of this, it's going to be information that you can apply straight away today. And my aim for this workshop solely is to give you as much advice and guidance as I can. So if there's anything specific you want to ask at the end in terms of your strategy, your business, your products, your services, then please feel free. I'm here to give you content. That's why I've designed this whole workshop for. If you follow me on LinkedIn already, you'll notice that I do provide a lot of free content anyway. There's lots on my YouTube channel. There's lots on my podcast. There's lots on LinkedIn specifically. And this is how we do business. We give lots and lots away for free. And if you want bespoke help from us, then you can come and ask for it. So I'm going to present you with that opportunity at the end. It's around 10 minutes long. And I'm going to talk to you about the academy and the results that we're getting from it and how you may be able to benefit from it if it is right for you. You can put your wallets and purses away. You can't buy this program straight away today. There's a process to go through, which I'm actually going to show you at the end. I'm going to show you our connected process at the end, so you can see how everything works. And the big rule for me is that there are no questions off limits. So I'm here to help you as much as I possibly can. Ask in the chat box for me. And there should be a Q&A function. Let me know if you can see the Q&A function. I did turn it on. Sometimes you just need to double check these. There should be a Q&A function where you can ask your questions. A couple of people saying yes, amazing. And that will allow you to basically send me through a list of things to answer at the end. If it's relevant at the time, I will answer it. However, normally I leave them to the end just to give you some clarity on it. Now, I know why I'm here. Or what I want to know is, why are you here? What is the two questions on there are, what do you do? And that's something that's going to be a theme throughout all of this. What do you do? So what is your job title? What is your business? What do you currently do? And then if there was one thing that was going to make this session really beneficial for you, what would that thing be? Because if it's not in here, what I will do is I will spend time at the end and I'll talk to you about it. But just let me know who you are, what do you do, and what are you looking to get out of today's session? Because this isn't about really me. This is about me giving you the time to come and find out more about what we do, right? So we've got Dave, who's a sales and marketing director. Welcome, Dave. Good to see you. Emily's here as a digital marketing apprentice. Amazing. So yeah, I'll definitely cover growth for you, not a problem. Dave's focus is all around lead generation. Great. Michael is a career coach creating leads. Good stuff. Ina is an aspiring virtual assistant. I've got a great story around Sasha, who's one of the virtual assistants I've worked with in the past, coming up. And we've got a couple of sales managers. We have different people offering coaching services. Good stuff. Okay, so we've got now it's going too quick. I can't read it all. So keep that coming through. Keep engaging with me. It is about participation today. And to give you kind of like the agenda of how this works, there's three specific parts to today. Number one is around clarity, and we're going to be going into this quite deep, because if you don't get this bit right, nothing else works. So it's about understanding what your message is. So depending on your role, whatever role you play in your business, whether you're a founder, a sales director, a marketing director, or an apprentice, there is a message that you can put out there that people are going to connect with, and there'll be a message for the business that you work for as well. I want to touch on the opportunity that's out there. So I'm going to give you the overview of where this opportunity lies and what you can do. Sandra, good to see you. Amazing. And I'm going to give you the first steps to take to start building what we call social selling momentum. Number two is they're going to be focused around content. So part two, we're going to be focusing all around what should we be creating and how do we stand out on this noisier and noisier platform. And this is going to be about bringing clients towards us. It's going to be around inbound marketing. And how do we get people to start inquiring on our business pages? How do we build our personal brands? Why do we build our personal brands? We're going to be focusing in on that. And then the third section is then how do you turn the time that you're spending on LinkedIn into the revenue generating activity? So whether that is generating leads for the company that you work for, whether that is just understanding the concepts of lead generation for you to be able to apply in your role, or if you are the leader of revenue generating activity in your business, how do you leverage it? The content inside of this, there are elements of it which I've spoken about before. So if you've attended one of my workshops before, there's elements of this which are repeated because it's the core fundamentals. But a large proportion of this stuff I haven't spoken about before. It's brand new, and it's done from a big piece of research that I've been doing over the last couple of months. For those of you that don't know, we run a content and a prospecting agency, and we're putting out around about 250 to 300 pieces of content every single month at the moment for clients. And with all of that content, we get lots of data back. So what I want to try and do is just relay that back over to you so you can start to really understand what's working and what isn't. Anna, good to see you. Now, just so you know a little bit about me, I'm not going to spend all day on this because no one's really that interested. However, I've been doing this for around 4 years. And when I mean this, I mean social media and brand building for around 4 years. And I found my passion for it in my first business, which is in property. And I built up a personal brand for myself inside of that industry, which has then led me on to start different kinds of businesses and be in different roles. And I base my kind of in inverted commas success basically on the way that I built my personal brand. Like, people remember who I am. People want to work with me. And I don't say that to be arrogant. I say that to really emphasize how important it is right now to be somebody that's out there and presenting themselves and putting out content so people start to realize who you are and what you do. And in terms of social media, we've ran lots and lots of different campaigns. The one on the right is one of our most successful, actually. It was a consultancy business that we worked with. And we work on a number of different platforms. And the biggest thing that I want to emphasize is that we've worked with a number of different businesses over the time. And I've used every platform there is out there. So I have a following on Instagram. I have a following on YouTube, although it's quite small. I'm on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. I'm terrible at TikTok. I can't dance or sing or mime for toffee. But I use every platform, and I'm completely detached from all of them. I'm not emotionally engaged really in any of them. What I really look to use them for is to be able to generate attention for my brand. I want to generate leads. I want to generate business. I want to be intentful and purposeful with my activity. And that's how we go about building our campaigns. So that's a big word for today, is not just looking at it in a way of like putting out content and optimizing your profiles and sending messages. What I want you to start thinking about is how can you create social media campaigns that work for you? And that's something that's a real subtle difference between most likely the generic advice that you've heard in the past and the in detail advice of what I'm going to give you here. But to give you the proof of concept, I made the switch from, I still use Instagram today, but I no longer use it as heavily, and I'm definitely no longer as reliant as I used to be on it. So this used to be my sole, pretty much, focus. I built up a following of around 40,000 people on that platform just from putting out content that people found valuable, people found interesting, telling my story. Really simple, basic stuff. And I moved to LinkedIn because the organic reach across the other social media platforms dropped. And what I mean by organic reach is the ability to be able to reach people through content without having to spend any money on paid advertising. And there's a few different things that I loved about LinkedIn. One was that it still gives you the opportunity to be seen by people. So even with a couple of hundred connections, you can reach thousands of people. Unless you're creating short form video content on these other platforms, unfortunately, you can't do that. And for me, I'm not really a short form video type of person. Again, I mentioned it earlier. I can't dance, I can't mime, I can't finger point. And I know I'm being a bit melodramatic when I say that. However, if you look at the majority of content on those platforms, it's not really relevant. Whereas what I wanted to do was utilize a platform where I can really showcase my credibility, showcase how much I care about what I do, and be able to be on a platform where people are in a business mindset. So what I mean by that is that people tend to go onto Facebook, they tend to go onto Instagram, they tend to go onto TikTok because they're bored. That tends to be the main reason. And they're not in any form of relationship building mindset. What they tend to be in is trying to distract themselves from what they really should be doing. That tends to be the mindset people are in. And so when I started to look at LinkedIn in a bit more detail, I realized that this was a completely different playing field. And it gives you so many different lead generation opportunities. And what I mean by that is that when you start to look at this and start to connect your marketing and sales process together, I mean, these are just a couple of results over the last couple of years, right? Simple stuff. But when you connect your messaging and your content with a lead generation process that works, and this is the stuff that I'm going to be going into towards the end of this workshop, when you connect it all together, this stuff becomes quite simple. And what I realized when I was sitting through a number of workshops like this, learning from other people, is that most people seem to overcomplicate what I'm going to teach you. And my job is to make it as simple as possible so you can go and do it, because that's what we, and when I say we, it's Pipeline 44, it's the business that I'm a part of. That's what we're all about. It's about taking complex subjects and making them really, really simple for people so anybody can do it. Now, I don't proclaim to be a LinkedIn expert, right? I'm not a LinkedIn guru. I'm not that sort of person. My business partner, Sam, is. So if you go and Google LinkedIn expert, Sam comes up at the top via just her LinkedIn profile. It's insane. She's been using this platform since I was in secondary school. Like, it's been 10, 12 years. She was using it right from the beginning, and she knows this platform inside and out. And my other business partner, Nick, he's been a founder of multiple different businesses. And together, we saw a real opportunity here to look at business in the way that it's done and apply the relationship building communication strategy that I'm going to teach you today to help people build sustainable businesses. So sustainable pipelines that are predictable. So you're not just putting out content and hoping, you're putting out content with intent that is actually going to give you something back. And that's what I'm all about. It's about generating results for the time that we put in, rather than spending hours and hours and hours doing something and then maybe somebody inquires at some point. It's not really what we want to be doing, especially if we bear in mind how much time we've got. We haven't got that much time to be dedicating to these platforms. We want to be in, we want to be out, and we want to be focusing in on all the other stuff. This stuff we can just get working for us with the simple daily habits. We have 3 different parts to our business. Now, the big part of it is education, and we do that a lot via like talks like this. Prior to COVID, we did a lot of like in-person type workshops and masterclasses. When it hit, obviously we had to do a lot of stuff online, like I'm doing right now for you. But we also have an agency to what we do, and we also do corporate consulting as well. So we have multiple different avenues. And what you're a part of today is that educational arm. So it's here us giving information out so you can take advantage to it. And I'm hoping you're going to find it useful. Now, this is the first thing that I want to teach you. It's a simple element to what we do, and I'm hoping we might already be connected already. However, you all have your own QR code. It's something really simple. But I remember when I first started in business, and especially for the digital marketing apprentice that's on here as well, it's just something that's really important for you. The biggest bit of advice I got given, even when I was back in work, was the importance of telling everybody what it is that you do. The importance of building a network, because when you build your network, you then have the opportunity to build relationships through content. It's really, really important. And what I'm going to focus on for you is really understanding how this works. So I'm going to teach you in a second on this next slide here. And what I want you to do, and I want you to get your phones out. And what I want you to do is go open up LinkedIn on your phone. If you're watching this on your phone, please do it afterwards. There's no need to leave the webinar to do this, right? However, if you open up your phone and you go to the search bar at the top, you'll see that squiggly square in the top right-hand corner. And what you'll notice is the ability to then get your own QR codes. Just let me know in the chat once you've been able to find that for me. That would be really helpful. Just let me know if you found it and you know where that is. Found it. Good. Des has found it. Ina's found it. Tony's found it. Good stuff, Emily. If you haven't and you're struggling, then just let me know. Drop me a message afterwards. And again, it won't be available on your desktop computer. Just really important note here. It won't be on your desktop. It'll be on your mobile. So if you open up your mobile app, LinkedIn on your mobile, top right-hand corner, again, the search bar, top right-hand corner, there's a squiggly square and you'll find it. Now, to be able to get this to work, if you open up the camera on your phone and you hover it over my QR code, it will take you to my profile. This is the way that I've built my network up over the last 2 to 3 years. And it's grown really quickly because I do this in every presentation that I do. I do whenever I go out networking. I no longer take a business card out with me networking. I take my QR code. My business card doesn't have the ability, although they have a use in business still, but it doesn't give me the ability to be able to put content in front of those people afterwards, whereas LinkedIn does because of the way the algorithm works, and we'll be touching upon that. So with that being said, it's time to get stuck in, because from my experience, now this experience has been from trial and testing every single day on this platform and helping loads and loads of people do the exact same thing. And what I've noticed is there are some key reasons why people don't see results from their social efforts. Number one is that their offer and the thing that they do doesn't stand out to their target market. So their offer isn't strong enough, or it's not clear cut enough for people to understand. I'm going to be talking to you about that in a bit more detail shortly. Number two is that their message isn't 100% clear or no longer connects with their target market. So the way that their business is presenting themselves to the market, they don't clearly understand what their target market are looking for or what they're really struggling with. And this is such a key thing. We've spent hours, even just over the last couple of weeks, going back and forth with clients on this, really trying to work out what it is that makes them stand out. And this is a thing where there's so much opportunity lost. Number three, and this can be quite hard to tell some people, I'll be really honest, right? Some people just aren't worth following in the first place because they're not putting out anything that's worth connecting with. And what happens is that your network ends up not growing because you're blending in with everybody else. So the content part of today is going to be about showcasing to you how you can stand out and how you can become somebody worth following. And then number four is lacking the price is actually really fundamental, lacking the predictable, sustainable process to conversion. So for those of you that are in marketing and sales, or you play those roles inside of your companies, this is about connecting your process together. So connecting content creation, prospecting, messaging, all the work that you're doing to gain attention, and then connecting that process with how do you move them along a pipeline to a point that they're ready to buy? And when they do, how do you then turn them into one of your best customers that refer more business together? This is something that lots of businesses lack, and they end up, again, going back to this, I hope somebody will reach out to me mentality, which I want to change, because this doesn't have to be like this. And the last one, again, is to capitalize on that really, and just to focus in on it, is their strategy is based on the hope of someone else reaching out to them. So as we focus in on those 5 things, what I'm going to hopefully do is add in the bits now to give you the answers to how you stop doing that. And that starts with the first part here. And it's the importance of defining the right message to give you an overview of the opportunity in your first steps. So, headline is brutal, but it's the truth. LinkedIn will not work for you unless you have a brand message. And that's a personal brand message as well as a business brand message that stands out and connects. Now, this is something which we spend lots and lots of time on with businesses. And again, it's really working out what their real key points are. Like, what are the, I don't really like the term USPs, but let's use it for this very relevant example. What makes them unique? What makes them special? And although this isn't directly LinkedIn focused, it's really important. So again, I want you to answer these questions. First of all, now a number of you answered this when you first joined the workshop and you put it inside of the chat box, which is great. But what do you do? Like, what is it specifically that your business that you work for or you run does? What is it that you do? The second is, who do you help? Again, basic stuff here, but it's fundamental. We're going to go to the next layer of this in a second. Who do you help? Number 3 is, what can they expect to achieve by working with your business? This is now going to form part of your messaging. What can they expect to achieve by dedicating and spending time with you and your company? What can they expect to achieve? The 4th thing is, whilst they're going on to achieve that, what's the opposite? What pains can they expect to avoid by working with you and working with your business? Again, forms part of your messaging. Marketing is about really making sure that people understand that for someone to buy something, they either want to move away from pain or they want to move towards pleasure. So expecting to achieve is the pleasure, and then you've got the pain on the other side. What lots of people do with their marketing is they sit in the middle and they end up not taking anybody in any direction, and therefore their content doesn't gain any traction. So what we need to do is move people along that line and again, give them what they're looking for to be able to build that effective relationship. And then the last question is, how do you provide it? So how do you help them achieve that thing? How do you help them avoid those pains? Take a photo of that. And I know it's basic, but it's really critical. Do you know the answers for that for your business, the business that you work for, the business that you run? Do you know what the answers are? And do they stand out? And this just comes into the importance of defining the right message, because this was something that was taken, we had our group. So with the Academy, we run a group monthly coaching call, right? We do it it's the first Monday of every month. And one of the topics that came up was all based around their message for this current moment in time. And I want to take you into that story in a second. But again, some more questions for you to answer here. With your product and service that you're a part of, with your brand, I want you to answer the question, what have your ideal target market tried before that hasn't worked? Do you know the answers? It's stuff that we take people through all the time when we're working with them. What have they tried before? Because then we can do the them versus us mentality, the marketing, messaging, content to help position us as the people to work with. The second question is, why is it what you provide is different to what they've previously tried? What makes you different? Why are you going to deliver the result where other people couldn't? Or have they never tried it before? What is the unique points to all of it? And then the third thing is, what makes your way of doing it previously better? Let's say, what makes your way of doing it better than what they've previously done? And then the final thing, which I want to touch on a bit more here, is the message relevant to how they are feeling today? So this came up in that group call. It was 2 weeks ago, last week. It was this Monday, just gone. And we have a lady that's part of it. She runs an amazing business. She runs a consultancy business for startup businesses and also businesses that are looking to grow. And 2 years ago, she was running workshops. And she's still running the workshops today, but it was all around, bearing in mind, we went into lockdown and lots of people's jobs are really vulnerable 2 years ago. They still are now, technically. However, it's a bit more secure and people know a little bit more about what's going on. 2 years ago, they didn't. So she adapted her workshops to be all around launching businesses, starting up businesses, taking control of your own destiny, so to speak. And she started running workshops with people. That message really resonated at the time with those people. because they were going through something and they wanted to try something new. People were at home, they were on furlough, and they didn't have anything to do. So starting a new business seemed like a good idea. Now, as the world and life has gone on, that message has stayed the same for that specific company. And what's happened is they had a huge spike of leads at the beginning because the message really hit home with people. But as time went on and the world went on, those leads started to diminish and reduce because they were getting tired of the same message. And also, it wasn't as relevant as what it was when it first started. So again, I want you to think about this in your own business case here. Like, what message can you put out that's really relevant to what the world is doing today? And what we spoke about on that group call, we suggested the idea, because rather than it being launch your new business and try something new, actually right now, the Federation of Small Business published an article around about 2 weeks ago saying that there's 500,000 businesses that are about small businesses that are about to go bust. And it's because they're not getting the support from the government that they thought they would get. And therefore, after the bounce back loans have now all run out, businesses are really struggling. So I was like, why don't you change your message to, rather than being around launching and getting, why not talk about survival and supporting the businesses that need help where they're not getting it from other people from before? And you change your message. And that subtle change, we're going to see what the results do because it was only announced on Monday. And we've only just started changing the message. However, we're going to see how that change in message will see the spike again. And I'm sure it will, because it would resonate with me, with what we're doing right now. And again, if it resonates with us, it will resonate for other people. So think about, with what you're doing, what are your ideal target market thinking? What do they need to hear that's going to get them to react? This is marketing 101. How can you get these people's attention? 2 years ago, we were in a different time of life. What is going on now that people are really going to connect with and resonate with? And this just shows the power of getting this right, getting the message right, and then getting the offer right to support it, no matter what service you provide, no matter what product you provide. This is a guy called Jamie York. I'm a good friend of mine, and he is a property investor and he's a property educator as well. He does both. He's one of the best educators there are out there. There's no one else I'd go to learn around property right at this current point, right? But we started working with Jamie around 2 and a bit years ago, and he didn't do any education back then. He didn't do any consulting back then. He was a speaker. He trained for another business. And I remember having the conversation with him, talking about how we can look at making a difference, because what he was doing was better than anything else. Bearing in mind, I'd spent a fortune on property training about 4 years ago. I'd been through it, and his knowledge was like tenfold compared to anyone else's. I was like, why don't you look at doing something similar? And he was like, well, it's really, really competitive out there, like seriously competitive. So I don't really want to go and start competing with everyone else. And I don't want the bad label of being another trainer. So I thought, okay, great. Well, let's set some big objectives as to how we can go about not doing that and doing something different. And this is where you can really start to do it, because what we then pinpointed was that rather than creating, like back then, it was like a 2-day training or a 3-day training. Let's create a longer form training program, a consultancy offering, which guaranteed the results for people. So we would handhold them through it. And there wasn't really anything else like that out there in the market. And again, thinking about the products and services that you offer, like what can you do that's different to everybody else? This is what we did. And then what we really focused in on was his brand message and what he stood for, because he was a great communicator, and we ended up getting him to launch a YouTube channel at the time. Now, he then took that content and put it onto LinkedIn, Instagram, they put it everywhere. But you can see how when you've got something different, when you really know your subject and you showcase how good you are at it, how much it really starts to increase. And Jamie's results spoke for himself as he then kind of took off, because the revenue that he's been able to generate from having the process that we built and connected together for him, having his content go out there on multiple platforms, and having a lead generation mentality with the right message and the right offer, it's amazing how things start to come together. Sometimes it just takes a fresh pair of eyes to really work out where you stand out and where your brand stands out. And with that in mind, I want you to focus in on the business that you work for or you run right now. And again, there's some more questions for you. I apologize. I said you're going to need notepads or some way of taking notes. Like these 3 questions, and go deep on them. Don't go basic and don't go service level. Go deeper. What problem is your business or the business you're part from looking to help people solve? What are you offering from a product and service point of view that's going to enable people to solve that problem? And then number 3 is, why should that business care about solving that problem? What are the consequences of them not solving it? List them out. This again is what we're now going to leverage and collect, because that's what's going to form part of our content and the way in which we're going to go viral on the newsfeed, how we're going to generate tens of thousands of impressions. Because when you get this right, we've got numerous examples coming through of how you then go viral. We know how to go viral on this platform. We've done it time and time and time again. But you need to understand these fundamentals to be able to get the attention that you're looking for. And once you've got the answers, you can then take step number 1 into the LinkedIn work that we're now going to do, and then represent that and reflect that into your profile. Ask yourself the question, does that information that we've just been throughout the last 10, 15 minutes, is it reflected in your profile, or does your profile need some work? And when I say profile, there's certain elements to it that you need to look at. The top part is the header image. Now, again, to create header images, you can go to YouTube and type in how to create a LinkedIn header image tutorial, right? It'll teach you. Do it on Canva. Really, really easy. But it's about giving people, for the left-hand side of this photo here, where you can see my face, the left-hand side is about giving people a compelling reason to connect or follow you. And you do that with the header image, and you do that with your headline. So below my name, there's the headline section. Now, what you need to realize with all of this is that the first 7 to 8 words, depending on your word length, is what people see every time that you leave a comment, every time that you put a post out there. It sits on the newsfeed below your name. And what you need to do is you need to make that something. When people see it, they want to click on it, because that's then what's going to enable you to gain their attention so they can start seeing more and more content of you. But your headline needs to be clear, it needs to be concise, and it needs to give people a compelling reason as to why they should follow you. So for mine, I use statistics to stand out from the crowd. There's not many people that have got the results we have, so I put them in there. From beginner to expert, if you're a bit stuck with social media, then you're in the right place. Almost encouraging people to connect and follow. How can you do something similar? On the right-hand side, you've got the about section. Now, this is just a structure that we use, a little bit about you, and then the bit that's really important, there's 2 parts to this. The first bit is making it really clear how people can buy something from you, or what services you at least provide. I can't tell you how many people's profiles I go on, and trying to work out the services that they provide is like answering a crossword cryptic clue. It's really difficult. And therefore what happens is they're leaving lots of opportunity on the table. So when you're thinking about marketing and when you're thinking about sales, it's about making it so easy for people to buy from you and also to recommend you. Does your profile clearly communicate what it is that you do and how you help people? With us, we have Pipeline Pro, which is our content and prospecting service. We have the Academy, which is what I'm going to talk to you about at the end of today. And this is all about making it really obvious as to how people can work with us. And I'm going to show you the power of this at the end. The last bit to focus in on is the Let's Talk section. So I have the message me on LinkedIn bit. What most people have is like Calendly links or drop me an email. The problem is with that is we're then really basing and really limiting the amount of opportunity coming to us, because normally the people that are going to book in a call or drop us an email are the people that are ready to buy at that one specific point. It's either that or they're about to waste a lot of our time. One of the two. Now, the issue with that is that there's only a tiny percentage of people when they visit your profile that are going to be in that position. So what you're missing out on is lots and lots of other opportunity beforehand. Because what we all know in sales, it's all about the number of touch points that you have with a prospect. Now, if you can somehow offer something on your profile which captures data, which captures an email address, which captures a phone number, which keeps them on your profile and consuming your content for longer, you're then going to start indoctrinating, which is a marketing term, indoctrinating these people into your way of doing business, into your way of working, into what it is that you provide. And this is absolutely critical to your LinkedIn success. So you can see here, I offer out a content ideas guide. Now, this is 100 content ideas, and it's a link that people can click to download. And I also have my YouTube channel at the Meet Chris section on the bottom line. That is about keeping people watching me, consuming my content for longer. That's all that is. I don't have a book a call link on there because we have a process that's connected and works. And this is what you need to build for yourselves as well. Now, once you've got your profile optimized, have a think and get your profile optimized. They're the key things that I suggest. We then need to realize the opportunity. because there are over 310 million now active users on this platform. And that means there's huge amounts of opportunity out there. So again, think about and answer this question. There's a reason I'm asking this so many times. It's to try and really get this to sink in, right? Who is the person you're trying to connect with? What job role do they have? So what is it that they do? Are you looking to speak with managers? Are you looking to speak to C-suite directors? Are you looking to speak to coaches and consultants? Are you looking to speak to agency owners? What is it that they do? Because that then allows us to go out there and start searching. Are you location-based? Again, it gives us the ability to filter by location, build your network with people that are going to support your content, support what you do, and also potentially do business with you. The next question is, how do you get their attention? So if you're connecting with C-suite execs, you can really bet the fact that they're going to have hundreds of other people every single week looking to connect with them as well. So what are you going to do that's going to stand out? How can you get them to accept your connection request over anyone else? Again, there's more to come on this in a second. And then the last one to really bolster in this message that I'm looking to put in here is, what are they in need of? So the people that you're looking to connect with, what are they in need of that you can provide to them? So I've been connecting a lot recently with virtual assistants, agency owners, and social media managers, because the content that I'm putting out there, I know will provide lots and lots of value to them. Now, if it provides value to them, they may engage with me. If they engage with me, that then starts to tell their network that I exist. And now what that does is that's part of our strategy, which you're going to see at the end, of an echo chamber that drives more and more business towards us. It's a way of doing business. It's a way of marketing, and it's stuff that we all should be looking at. Who are the people that are going to cheer on and engage with what we do? And who are the people that are going to become customers? Two types of people that you need to be connecting with. Have a think about who they are for both. Once you've got that profile optimized, you can then go, and this is some habits that you can do here. So again, take a photo of this if you need to. You can then start to grow your network. So I mentioned the QR code at the beginning. The other bit to building your network is going out there and actually pressing that connect button. Growing your network is something that you should be doing every single day. It takes me 5 minutes to go and connect, and send out my connection request. I do it in the gym every single morning. Normally when I'm walking or running or doing on a cycle, right? But use the search function. Go and search for the people that you're looking to find. Go and actually practically look for them. You can see the filters in the image on the right-hand side there. You've got connections, filter that by second and third degree, because they're the people that you're not directly connecting with. And then location, if you're location specific, it's something that we do. We target certain locations at certain times. And then send your 20 requests per day. So you can send 100 connection requests per week. That's 100 new people that you can potentially start relationship building with per week. 20 requests per day. Just send the requests out. Like I mentioned, there's two different types of people that I suggest that you connect with. One are potential clients, and two are people that are going to support and engage and become part of your community. It's really, really crucial to be able to do it. And this is something that Sasha did brilliantly. So Sasha, I've worked with about two and a bit years now. And she runs an outsourcing virtual assistant agency, and she's brilliant at what she's done. And what we've been able to do with her is create her an offer that's sustainable, so a product and service that stands out, and be able to then generate the business through what I classify as word of mouth marketing on steroids, which is what social media gives you the opportunity to do. Is when you present the results that you're putting out there, when you present the opportunity that's there, and you have an offer that really helps people and stands out to the market, it's amazing when you're easy to recommend, how when other people are asking for your services, how you're the person that stays top of mind. And this is really important with a service-based business, right? If you're running a service, is it really easy to recommend you, or is it quite complicated? What we did with Sasha is make it really easy. She generated so much business just from our community that we had at the beginning, just because she was the only person providing administration services in there. She was the go-to person. Really worked really, really nicely. So some top tips before we finish part one for gaining clarity. Number one is create that message that disrupts and captures the attention that you're looking for. So think about what makes you different. Go back through those questions and answer them. Utilize the headline, that first 7 to 8 words. Customize that about section. Don't complicate it. Make it really, really simple. Replace those generic book a call and email call to actions to proactive next steps. So again, think about the process and the journey that you're going to take someone on. And then with everything that you do, this is really important for every bit of social media activity that you do. Whenever you're posting a piece of content, whenever you're sending a message, whenever you're looking at taking something to a phone conversation, ask yourselves, why should the person consuming, reading, or having that conversation with you, why should they care? Why should they give you their time? And once you start to think in that manner, you'll start to customize the message in a way that actually gets those responses that you're looking for, that gets the interaction, that gets the results. Now, that's the end of part one. Let me know, has part one been helpful for you? If you've got any questions on it, put it in the Q&A section. That's part one all covered. I know it's been a bit like in depth around the marketing message, but I hope it's trying to really relay the importance of getting the offer and getting the message right. Good stuff. People are finding it useful. Fantastic. So part two is all around the content section. Now, content is something that people really need to start to think about in a bit more detail, because most, and again, it's okay if you are one of these people, by the way, because I was as well. Most people treat content as a tick box exercise and see it almost as a chore. Now, if you see it that way, what do you think the people reading it and watching it think? They're going to be in the same mindset, if not worse, because they don't actually care about what you do, whereas you do. So this is where it starts to become more and more important. And again, it's a brutal headline, but LinkedIn will not work for you, unless you become someone that is worth following. And this can be sometimes difficult for people to try and work out why they should be somebody that people follow. And again, we spend lots of time working on this in the academy, trying to work out, again, the real pinpoints of what makes somebody's brand special. Because there's special parts to everything that we do, and you've just got to find out what they are. And sometimes with everything else that's going on in your business and in your role, it's quite hard to see it for yourself. And actually the community help a lot with this, because you've got outside eyes looking at what you do in a completely different way, and they will give you the answers to what you're looking for. And I spend lots of time on Zoom calls with people going through this stuff, but it's answering that question. Like, do it for me in the chat box. Like, for those of you that feel confident enough, and again, no one else can see it, it's just me, put in there, like, why should someone follow you? Type it in for me, share it with me. Why should somebody follow you? What is the thing that you're going to give that's better than anyone else? Why are you worth connecting with? What makes you special? Put it in there. Don't be afraid to shout about it. This is almost that first step to talking about it. Because, like, for me, for instance, I know that I'm going to provide, if someone connects with me, I'm going to provide them huge amounts of value on how to maximize these social media platforms. I'm going to demystify them. I'm going to make them so simple that they're going to almost feel like an idiot that they didn't know it before. Because it really is. It's so simple to do when you go through it, right? I love that, Rachel. Amazing stuff, right? This is where we need to lie. Why should somebody follow us? Love it. I'm awesome. I speak 3 different languages. And again, this is stuff that can make you stand out. With people that have got big followings online, there's normally something that makes them different, and we're all different in our way. And this is what we can start to focus on. So everything that you're typing, save it, copy and paste it somewhere, save it somewhere, because that's what we're going to use to keep moving forward with. The second thing is, what are you going to offer them in a content point of view? What are you going to do for them? Why should people spend time creating their content? How can you help people? And again, the most important question, why should people give their precious time consuming your content? What is it they're going to get from it? Are they going to feel inspired? And they're going to feel motivated? Are they going to feel really emotionally engaged with you? Are they going to love you? Are they going to be almost slightly pissed off sometimes because of the rants that you go on? What is it? Are you entertaining? This is stuff that we really need to focus in on. Something so critical. And this formula was almost business 101 for me. This is something that Sam, my business partner, introduced me to. And by the way, if you're not connected to Sam Rathling currently, or Nicholas Jones, who you might see is one of our co-panelists here, go and follow them, because they're putting out really useful content every single week for you. But Sam taught me this formula: visibility plus credibility equals opportunity. And this went back almost to like the basic business advice that I got when I first started. And it was, the more people that know what you do, the more opportunity will come your way. That is basically what this formula is. So there's one thing, and this is what most people do really well. They are visible. They put content out there. However, what they miss, and this is why they don't get the consistent opportunity, they miss the credibility element. They don't showcase to people how good they are. And there's a real cool sentence that I'm going to give you at the end of this, which is going to highlight this even more. But this was something that when I was taught it right at the beginning of my journey, that I knew was going to be really important. So what I'm really proud of, and I am proud of this, is the fact that every step of my business and entrepreneurship journey, even back when I was in work, when I worked for a car leasing company as a sales manager, has been documented online. Now, people thought I was a little bit sad doing this at the beginning, but it's set me up to pretty much do whatever I want to do. And I've done multiple different things over the last 4 years. My life's been a bit of a whirlwind. But by putting this out there, people have wanted to work with me. People have wanted to come and see me speak. People have wanted more information. People have wanted to come onto calls because I positioned myself as someone that wants to help. And I've demonstrated that day in and day out. And at the beginning, it didn't really give me anything. I'll, again, be really upfront with you. The first 3, 6, 9 months, I got followers, but I didn't get much business out of it. It was around the 3 to 4 month mark when that house on the top, it's the second in from the left. You can see it's a skinny version of me. I promise that's not Photoshopped. I actually was that skinny at one point. But that was the first house that we got. And it was where I raised money for that property. I raised that from, it didn't even come from Instagram. It came from LinkedIn at the point. That was my first real guidance. I used to put my content out there and people used to come in and say, oh, how can we work with you? That was how it worked. But the reality is people don't do it that way. The way that people tend to do it is, like I mentioned at the beginning, like it's a bit of a chore, and they end up creating content that like looks a little bit like this. And let me know if you've seen content that looks a little bit like this on the newsfeed and you've most likely pointlessly scrolled past it. And do you know what? Some of you may even be creating content like this. And do you know what? That's okay because you're not really sure what you should be creating. That's what I'm here for. But this sort of content is stuff that we scroll past every single day. We don't stop on it. We scroll straight past it. And it's stuff that is quite selfish in terms of it doesn't really offer any value, or it's stuff that is very promotional all the time, or it's just stuff which no one really cares about. And you end up falling into this mentality of creating content for content's sake. And that's what I want to try and help you avoid, because what we need to do with everything that we're creating, and I don't mean to teach you almost how to suck eggs here. I don't mean to do that, but I think we need to go back to the basics, is put ourselves in our ideal client's shoes and ask ourselves if they were to see us for the first time. This was the first time, because guess what? With your content, you're making first impressions with people every single time that you show up. If they were to see you for the first time, what first impression would you give? Is it something people would engage with, would cheer on, would like, would comment on, would share, would save? Is it content that they would do that with? Do you know what they would interact with in that way? The third one's a real important one. Does it demonstrate how passionate you are and how much you want to help? So I'm giving an hour and a half here of like real in-depth content. And I'm hoping that you can see, hoping that I do care about this subject. I'm a bit of a geek on it. I am passionate about it. And what you see here, again, should be what you see in my YouTube videos, what you then see on my LinkedIn content, whether it's written or video, and what you then see when you meet me as well. It's all connected. I'm the same online as I am offline, and I show up every single day showcasing that. Now, because I'm doing that all the time, people then really get focused in on how much we care about what we do. And then that leads us then onto that final point, is would people be actively encouraged to follow you? If your network's not growing right now, it's because currently you're not. And I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to be really honest with you and to help you move forward with it. Because if your network's not growing or your engagement's really low, that isn't to do with the platform. That's to do with the way that you're creating. And what I want to do, again, is give you those ideas now that are going to give you that head start to start creating, because I'm going to give you a heads up. You're going to be creating today. If you want to take advantage of LinkedIn, you'll join in the challenge that I'm going to do shortly and get you involved with it, because this is the way that you build momentum. It's the way that you, again, generate thousands and thousands of views. And you do it using these sorts of content themes and content types. So I said we create hundreds and hundreds of pieces of content. We might be in the thousands of pieces of content now. And we know what works. And the content themes are these 5. These are the 5 key content themes that really work right now. The first one is what we're going to be doing shortly. This is what I did, and this is what I learned. So a documentation type piece. Number 2 actually is insane right now. We're in, because of the way that the world is, if you look at it and you look at content that's doing well, vulnerability is winning. Vulnerability is what people engage with. And some people don't like showcasing this online. However, the people that do, and they commit and they be open and honest and they be transparent, that's where you get rewarded, because that's what people don't seem to see enough of and what people cheer on. So fears, failures, and screw ups, rants and opinions. And then one that will really hack your growth if you want fast growth. On LinkedIn, you may not have seen this yet, but if you go to your homepage on LinkedIn, this is on your desktop, not on your mobile. On the top right-hand side, you'll see a LinkedIn news section. That LinkedIn news section is almost a growth hacking section, because that is what everybody is reading about and listening about and focusing in on the platform. Now, if you were to take one of those topics in LinkedIn news, and this is what we do inside of our academy, we've actually got a challenge running inside of our academy at the moment, where we've given people the content ideas to go through, and newsjacking is what yesterday was all about. So people have been looking at all the different news topics and then making it relevant to what they do. Powerful way to be able to grow. So they're the 5. Social proof is around credibility, demonstrating your results, demonstrating the work that you do as a company, demonstrating how good you are at what you do. Now, the content types are those 5. So the multiple photo posts, single photos, for some reason, I don't know why it is, but they're not getting the traction that they once did. What we're finding is almost like a little bit of a hack at the moment, is connecting, and the magic number is 5. 5 photos that represent what you're talking about in your caption. 5 photos in one post. I can't tell you why, but it's having a humongous effect in terms of engagement and performance. And documents are stuff that we create on PowerPoint or we create on Canva. You can then upload the document. They're like the carousel swipe type pieces of content. Video is about credibility again. So not everybody's confident on video. We teach people video all the time in the academy. We're always talking about it. I watch video literally. I must watch about an hour of video every other day at the moment, half an hour a day. People sending content through for me to watch. I spend lots of time doing it. But the most important tip that I can give you is getting yourself out there. It's so, so crucial. And the thing that's going to make the difference to you, breeze through this quickly, because again, this isn't the most sexiest of topics, but it is so, so important, is a plan. Planning is something that people just tend to throw into the bin and avoid, but it is crucial to getting it right. Now, it's going to allow you to become consistent. And this is how we do it. We do it in a spreadsheet. We have a template that we use inside of our agents. We have a template that we use. You can do it on Asana. You can do it on Trello. You can do it anything. All you basically need to do is list out loads of content ideas and think about how you're going to demonstrate credibility in what you do, how you're going to start showing up to start generating engagement, to start generating traction. And I'm going to give you an example that explains this better than anything. And the example is from a lady called Jo Britton. So Jo is a performance coach. And the thing that I'm about to show you was posted a year ago, and it's still growing, right? This is when I say, and I mean this with absolutely everything that I'm going to say to you today. It only takes one video or one piece of content to change everything. And people laugh sometimes when I say it, but I really mean it in terms of it. And the example is a demonstration, because Jo found me through Instagram, actually. And you can see her comment at the bottom there. I've done a piece of content there, which was all around social proof and providing huge amounts of value. And I triggered people to go out there and do something. Jo then jumped onto a conversation with me, and she ended up joining a challenge that I was running at the time. And we started to build out her plan of how she was going to define her message, how she was then going to build her sales process, and how she was going to build her audience. We set out the whole thing. It's what we do inside of the academy. Focus in on the message, the sales process, and then how you can utilize a social media platform to get the momentum going. But she had to commit to it. And boy, did she commit to it, because she'd been posting for over 3 months. And over that 3-month period, I was getting bombarded with messages saying to me that it doesn't work, it's completely pointless, nobody's engaging with my stuff, I feel like I'm going to give up, it's a complete and utter waste of time. And it was almost I always laugh whenever I speak to her about it. It was almost borderline abuse, actually, what I was getting. But however, we got through it. It was hilarious, really, in the grand scheme of things, because we kept testing, and I knew that she would get there eventually. And with a few amendments and a few things, she finally put out something which really connected. So Joe got a little bit of hate online. Some of you may have seen this video because it did trend really well. But Joe put out this video in response to a hater. Now, Joe's all about female confidence, female empowerment, psychology, being the best version of you. So she championed that. And this is where LinkedIn stands out above every other platform, because she put this out on Instagram and it died a slow death. She put it out on LinkedIn and it was insane what happened. And it just demonstrates again, just like we said with Jamie at the beginning, the power of getting your message right. You can see that message. This was sent in WhatsApp, which is what we used to communicate at the time. Totally overwhelmed and shattered. Been an awesome day. I've done 2 grand in sales since Monday, 11,000 views. She was receiving messages like that on a consistent basis. She still receives messages like this today. You can message her and she'll tell you. Joe Britton, Britton. Looking to improving my social media visibility. Loved your lipstick video. After seeing it, I thought we would probably get on, hence the contact. Now, the amazing thing was we weren't finished there. It got to 30,000 views. It ended up finishing at 52,000. I think that's now at 60,000 views, that video. It's still growing and she's still getting business with it today. This is the power of getting your message right and getting the right type of content out there. So when it comes to connecting and when it comes to content, there's some really important things to remember. Number one is, if there was one biggest hack I was going to give you, is to put out content that you're really passionate about. If there's anything else, be passionate, showcase how much you care about what you do. This bit is the opposite of what most people do. Most people showcase the most boring versions of themselves online. I spend so much time on Zoom calls, right? I spend so much time speaking to people. And I cannot tell you, when I have those conversations, how much passion, how much enthusiasm, how much care people have for what they do. They love it. They're so knowledgeable. But the problem is, the person that I see on Zoom, I then look at what I then see on social media, and it's the complete opposite. And this is what I want to train and help you with. It's how to be that best version of you. And it starts by getting your face out there, because then people will start to remember you. Build yourself a rough plan. Then if you ever hit a content block, just show people what you're doing day to day. And when you do that, and you start getting the feedback. So this is what we do inside of the Academy. We watch videos and we give feedback, and you can see it top right, very good, clear, concise, and great content. Only comment is used a question at the beginning directly, which is fine in a lot of cases, but I want you to address the pain. Have you ever, so we're coaching people on how to get better. Really, really important. And when you start to commit, like we're going to do now. So this, you don't have to do this. I would encourage you to do it. But when you start to take advantage of talking about what you're doing day to day, that's where you're going to start to see the results. So I'm going to run a competition. I've run this for the last couple of workshops, and I'm going to pick one winner out of everybody that does it. And they're going to get 12 months access to our academy, working with us hand in hand to get things moving for you. So it's a big prize for us. And what you need to do to be able to enter, you just need to do a post. I'm just going to get you to post. Really simple. There are some things. There's one thing that you really need to do. You need to get your phones out. You need to take a photo. I'm going to show you some examples of this in a second. Take a photo of your desk or your laptop. Make sure you're in it. It will really help. Get your face in it. And just in the caption, post, this is what I did. And here's one piece of advice that I think will help you. Make sure that you tag me in it so I can see that you've done it, whether it's in the comment section or it's in the post itself. Tag me in so I can see that you've done it. And then I'll add you into the draw, which is going to be announced on Friday, of the person that's won the 12 months access. For everybody that takes part, though, you are going to receive a copy of our 100 content ideas guide as well. So that's, I think that's an incentive for everyone to do it, but one person will win. This is how I did it. So I take a photo. This is the caption that I use. Tell people what you're doing, because when you do, again, that's just a caption. Today I attended a workshop. That's something that I would post. Just tell people you're here if you want to. Tell people that you've got a call later. Just post something about what you're doing. And this is what other people have done. The one in the middle is from a lady called Amy. She reached 1,400 reactions on that post. This is what I did. This is what I learned. This is the start. We've had over 100 people take part in this over the last few months. This is the start of getting yourself out there. So take a photo. Do it now. Take a photo and write your caption. Put it online. Tag me in it. You've got nothing to lose. You've got everything to gain with the way that this challenge works. And we're now creating this little wall to really demonstrate the people that are doing it well. And again, people are generating big opportunity from showcasing and demonstrating themselves online. Part 3, whilst you're doing that, keep listening, is how do you turn your connections into customers? Well, you do it by utilizing the tools that LinkedIn provide to maximize the opportunity. And the first one, it closes at the end of today, Emily. The competition closes at the end of today because I need to then review everything tomorrow. I'll announce it on Friday. So direct messaging and prospecting is one way in which you can do it. Now, they're the 7 different campaigns that we run. So these are the ways in which we message. These are the 3 that I personally focus on and recommend: event promotion, adding value, and sales conversations. Now, the rest of them on there I'm not going to focus on. I want to focus on those 3, but you can see the others: recruiting talent, network building, relationship building, key account. The first thing you've got to do is choose a campaign. Now, this depends on the business model that you have, because as we all know, when it comes to messaging, people get this horribly wrong. Horribly wrong. And what you need to do is that first step. You've heard me say this time and time again now, but put yourself in the mind of the people you're messaging. And think about what would you respond to? Because for me, I run 2 types of campaign. And one of them is a value add, which I'm going to talk about in a second. The other is an event campaign. So I'm going to talk to you about them in a second. I'm looking with my value add message. So I send a message out. You're going to see my messages in a second. You're going to see what I send out to people. Some of you may have already received them. But I send out basically a message that says you don't need to respond to me because I realize that people are busy. However, if you're interested in social media, here's a link to a YouTube video that will help you with social media. And if you're struggling with content, here's a guide that'll give you 100 different ideas for content. That's how we add value. I'd love to find out a little bit more about what you do. If not, have a great day. Speak to you soon. I'll leave it at that. My content will then do the talking to you. That's a value add campaign. But I'm going to talk to you now a little bit about sales conversations, because I was having a conversation with Nick about this yesterday, and he made a really good point. Most people, when they run sales campaigns on LinkedIn, they have a copy and paste direct message, which is just trying to openly pitch something for someone. And therefore, we're automatically pushed away from it. And most people think it's wrong to sell and to have these salesy conversations online. I disagree. I don't think it is. There's a way in which you can do it. And this is the point of being selective with the people that you message. Because the sorts of messages I receive right now are all around like, do you need help with your lead generation? Do you need help with social media? And I'm sitting there, I'm running a social media agency. Like, why would I need that? If you just check my account out, you'd see it. However, if someone had messaged me and they'd seen that I've been engaging with some car leasing companies, they can see in my activity section, I've been engaging with some car leasing companies. But you can see, and if let's say they were an electric car provider, as an example, and they dropped me a message to say, hey, Chris, as you probably know, electric cars are really, really hard to get hold of these days. We have got loads and loads of in stock at the moment. And if you're ever looking, please do drop me a message because we've got this available. However, they will go quickly. I'm looking for an electric car right now. I'd be responding back. So the mentality is if you get the message right to the right person, people will engage and they will respond. If you get the wrong message to the wrong person, they won't respond and they'll be pushed away. There's a way in which, and this is something that Sam teaches brilliantly, to get the campaign language so good to a point that you're sending them out and you're getting great response rates. You're getting the responses from the people, the decision makers that you need to be able to then turn people into customers as people go through. Campaigns are really important. We then have link promotion on your profile, new feature. Now, what you need to do is think about the mentality of you don't own your social media accounts. You don't own your social media profiles, okay? That's the reality. LinkedIn owns your LinkedIn account. So the aim and the strategy is to try and move people from LinkedIn into something which you have control over. And I always think the email database is the best way. Some of you will be here because you've received an email from us over the last few days. Now, what this content guide is a lead magnet. We give it away for free in exchange for an email address. Now, what most people put inside of this website section, and to find it, if you go to your profile and go to edit profile, you scroll down slightly underneath your headline, there is a website section. You can put this link in. Most people put their website. Please don't do it. It's wasted opportunity. Put in something of value that people can download. So your LinkedIn profile becomes an active lead generator for you. Really, really important. But it's a great way to generate leads every day. I get 4 to 10 downloads a day of people clicking that link. Think about now what you could give away to be able to turn that connection into a lead, to move them further on down that pipeline. Really cool way. Link promotion on your profile feature, make sure you use it. Number 3 is LinkedIn events. LinkedIn events are ridiculous right now. And we had 105 people register for this event, and I barely invited anybody. Like, I think we had like a 10% conversion from invite. I had 1,000 people, 100 people show up. Insane, really, in the grand scale. I didn't pay anything for advertising. It's just the workshop is on there, and I invite and people come. That's it. Simple as that. So this is perfect for workshops. So if you have a business where you can run workshops, webinars, live trainings, make sure that you're using LinkedIn events. We leveraged them for all 3 services: academy, agency, and consultancy. And if you can master the art of these workshops, which is what we train people on in the academy, how to run presentations like this, how to get people to them, how to convert. We have a whole training that's focused directly on these. You can get these working for you. It's insane how much business you can generate. So we've generated 4,500 leads over the last 6 months just from events like this. We had 200 in the one in April, 830 of the one in January. You can see these were just simple events. 1,000 for the one in December. That's all for free. That's all free lead generation. Takes time to invite people, right? But a little bit of work and you can generate thousands of leads for nothing. You need to right hook. You then need to be able to convert off the back end of them. But it's so, so cool in the way that they work. So if you don't know anything about LinkedIn events right now and you think it could work for your business, then again, ask me some questions at the end and I'll help you with them. The last one here is content promotion, because it is allowed. So again, this comes down to that link, that lead magnet. Don't keep it a secret. I post about this content ideas guide normally once a month, and it normally ends up generating us 100 to 150 leads every single time I put something out. Look to create something of value that you can give away so you can start turning your connections into leads. It's a great way to be able to distinguish what the opportunity currently is for you. And what I want you to now think about is imagine not just using one of those, but using all 4 of them, connecting them together, getting a process that works, because this is what Darren did. And this is how you get consistent results. Because when you have the process that's connected, maybe it is webinars, maybe it's conversations, maybe it's Zoom calls, maybe it's application forms, maybe it's free trainings into paid trainings, maybe it's an introduction to your product and service, maybe it's a free trial. When you connect your process with your marketing and your LinkedIn strategy, it's insane how it works. So Darren runs webinars. Darren's a workshop type person. And his offer is such a no-brainer. He gets people joining every single day. And this is automated. He doesn't even have to do them live like I do. It's automated for him. Again, you can go and check Darren Hill out. He's on every platform. He's got a great YouTube channel as well. But the thing with all of this stuff is that his message stands out and he oozes credibility. So start collecting, if you've not already, start collecting testimonials, start collecting wins, start collecting the results that your business generates. Start talking about them. Start creating scenario-based content and start putting it out there so people can see. Darren started 2 years ago with us and has generated, I think, just below £1 million now in revenue. It's insane what he's been able to do. And he trains people in Forex. He's a consultant in Forex. He's a service-based business as well. He has a different company. Incredible how it works. But this is the importance of building out your own process. And you can take a picture of that, right? You're in this process right now. And not everybody is right for it. But when you have the process, and this is what we help people in the academy build. You build the process that works, because this process won't work for you. It works for us. Everyone's process is different. But this is about working out what's going to work for you. So for you right now, you come from multiple different areas. You could have come from LinkedIn event and promotion into LinkedIn message and then onto the webinar. Or you could have come from the content guide. Or you could be already on the email list from previous work that you've done with us. What you've then gone is gone through the attendance. You're then going to go through to an application form at the end if it's ready for you. I know every single number of what I need to achieve to be able to hit our targets every single month. That's why we don't need to hard sell. Because I know that if I can get 1,000 people through our webinar onto our list every single month, I'm going to hit the 20 to 25 or 15 to 25 new academy members every single month. The process works because the process is built in this way. And again, if you've not got this right now, then we help you do that. This is where this becomes predictable and sustainable. And yes, there is lots to learn. There's lots of videos to watch. There's lots of work to do. There's lots of systems to look at and put into place. But once you've applied them, people just don't look back, because this isn't actually complicated. It can look overwhelming. It isn't. Once it's done once, you just keep amending as you go. Then you do your daily habits every morning and then it works. And this was just a perfect example. This is my message template. You can see it. It's there. I don't hide it. I sent a message to Caroline. This was back on February the 2nd. She ignored it, blanked me completely, accepted my connection request, but blanked it. February the 6th, I then sent my value add campaign. You can see the YouTube link there. It's there for people. I actually blanked that one as well. No response at all until a month later. 35 days is around our average sales cycle from the point that somebody connects with us and if they're the right person to the point that they buy. And again, hope you're well this week. Can you tell me a little bit more about the Social Selling Academy you advertise on your profile? Remember me saying at the beginning, the profile section, it said Social Selling Academy. She's seen it. That then enables her to inquire because she knows what she's inquiring about. Hi, Caroline, just saw your message. This was the same day, a couple of hours later. Do you want to jump on a phone call? Yep, cool, sounds great. If you're free, jumped on a phone call. I sent her the webinar link to be able to watch, and she signed up a couple of hours later, 3 hours in total later. The process is in play to allow us to be able to solve the problems that our ideal clients have got. This is where this all works and connects together. Is this starting to make a little bit of sense? Is this clear? Can we start to see the opportunity here when we start to get the process right? Just let me know that this is making sense, because I know sometimes it can be a little bit complicated. But this is the power of this stuff. And this is why I'm not afraid to shout about it, because it's like insane when you get it working. So here's some top tips for some conversion, right? Here's some top tips for you. Understand how you can best sell your products and services. Like, even drop me a message. This is I'm actually offering out strategy calls at the end of this, so you all know, to have conversations with you about this, right? To go into some detail with you. I'm doing them today, tomorrow, and Friday. And we're going to talk about the products and services that you offer and how do you frame them in the way that's really relevant to the market right now. The second thing is having a database growth attitude. Focus in on building your list every single day. We've now got over 20,000 people on our list built over the last 8 years. So not just mine, Sam's been doing this a lot longer than me. Over the last 8 years, we've been building our list, building the list, building the list. That provides us with endless opportunity because we're always adding to it. Yes, people unsubscribe from it. Of course they do. Yes, people get annoyed about the emails that we send. Of course they do. I don't mind about that because they can unsubscribe and not receive them again. But we're looking to add value. We're looking to connect with the people that need our help. The third thing is remembering that multiple points of contact will improve your overall chances of being remembered. So again, remembering that the people aren't ready to buy from you right away. They're not. You need to nurture. You need to have that mentality. Utilize the tools that LinkedIn provides that I've mentioned, connect them all together, and then build your end-to-end process and ask yourself the question, what is your process going to look like? What does it look like? Do you have one already that's really working well? Or do you need to build one? Or do you need to work on it and develop it? Because when you've got the process right, which is the foundations, you can then start gaining the attention from the people that you know need it. You can then start providing the value. And when you do, that's when the opportunity comes. And that's what we're looking to help people solve. It's what we're the most passionate about, because we know how passionate you are about what you do, but we just need to get you showing up in that way. And that's when everything clicks together. And this is the stuff that nobody seems to talk about online. And I have no idea why. Now talk about basic information about putting out content and optimizing profiles and sending messages. If you don't get the process right, have it all connected together, it won't work. This is where we get the results, when we connect it all together. And so I hope it's been helpful. And we're going to do the Q&A at the end. But this is where I want to talk to you about the opportunity to work with us, right? To come and find out a little bit more about how we work.